Rano jutro, 5:30, svakog dana putuje moja Milena. Miriše na jabuke, živi ko podstanar. Moja Milena, oči su joj pune sna, kako li se preziva moja Milena. Ruke ne pokazuje, kaže da dobro je moja Milena. Milena generacijo moja, da smo se ranije sreli. Milena generacijo moja, toliko toga nas dijeli. Milena generacijo moja, ko nam je ukrao dušu. Milena generacijo moja, jesmo li previše htjeli? Milena generacijo, Milena generacijo. Rano jutro, 5:30, svakog dana putuje moja Milena. Miriše na jabuke, živi ko podstanar. Moja Milena, oči su joj pune sna, kako li se preziva moja Milena. Ruke ne pokazuje, kaže da dobro je moja Milena. Milena generacijo moja, da smo se ranije sreli. Milena generacijo moja, toliko toga nas dijeli. Milena generacijo moja, ko nam je ukrao dušu. Milena generacijo moja, jesmo li previše htjeli? Milena generacijo, Milena generacijo, Milena generacijo, Milena generacijo. Rano jutro, 5:30, svakog dana putuje moja Milena. Miriše na jabuke, živi ko podstanar. Moja Milena, oči su joj pune sna, kako li se preziva moja Milena. Ruke ne pokazuje, kaže da dobro je moja Milena. Milena generacijo moja, da smo se ranije sreli. Milena generacijo moja, toliko toga nas dijeli. Milena generacijo moja, ko nam svakog dana putuje. Moja Milena miriše na jabuke, živi ko podstanar. Moja Milena, oči su joj pune sna, kako li se preziva. Moja Milena, ruke ne pokazuje, kaže da dobro je. Moja Milena, Milena generacijo moja, da smo se ranije sreli. Milena generacijo moja, toliko toga nas deli. Milena generacijo moja, ko nam je ukrao dušu. Milena generacijo moja, jesmo li previše htjeli? Milena generacijo, Milena generacijo, Milena generacijo, Milena generacijo. Rano jutro, 5:30, svakog dana putuje.
Hey, what's up, guys? I was just talking to Jackson, and it's like, oh, fuck. The live redirect is not working, so he can't raid me. It just doesn't fucking work. And I was really banking on that. So a lot of you are probably really confused about why I'm so late. Aha! Okay, I'm just kidding. But, so I want to talk about the Discord for a second. Well, I'm going to talk about my excuse. My excuse is, I don't know if you can tell, I spent all day cleaning the shit out of my apartment. I cleaned this fucking apartment all day. I spent all day doing that. Just cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. And you'll understand why tomorrow. And it'll make sense tomorrow why I did that. But for now, I am really, the thing that I'm really sad about and I feel really bad about is it's the Patreon. Oh man, it kills me, man. It fucking kills me. I need 1 hour to just be able to sit down and do it, and I haven't all fucking week. And the reason for that is because we had the Discord shit happen. Oh man, it's like, and I've just been dealing with that all week, just this Discord bullshit and doing all these it's just. And I was thinking, what do you guys think about me doing the Patreon now? Like, what if I just do it now? Will you be okay with that if I just read off your questions right now? Because it loses the exclusivity type of aspect. But at least I'll just, like, get it done. Do you guys want me to do it now? Sounds kind of unfair. Alright, yeah, I don't want to do it if people think it's unfair. You don't care? Okay, this is just going to be the only time I do this. Okay, yeah, the exclusivity thing is able to ask the questions. So this is the only time I'm going to do this, and I'm literally going to do this now because I don't really see another time in which I'm going to be able to do this. I can't do it tomorrow, I can't do it Saturday. And then Sunday is like, okay, Monday, then I'll have to do the next round of questions. So I guess we'll just start doing them like every Thursday, right? I'll just wait till next Thursday to do the next one. So, to give you guys time. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna read them today, and I'm gonna just do it today. We're just gonna do this today, and that's just what we'll do. We'll just do it today. So again, guys, this is a fluke. This is a one-off, and I really do apologize about it. I really just haven't had time. If it wasn't for the Discord shit happening, I would have been able to do this, right? It's just that Discord bullshit happening is the reason I didn't have time, you know? Make Patreon $5. It is 5. It is 5. I'm also trying to get the Discord thing set up, but it's like still connected to the old one, and I'm trying to trying to get it connected to this new one. Okay, here we go. Actually, wait, actually this works. Cool. And it does work. Where's it at? Right here. All right, I actually can give you guys the role right now. If that's any consolation, I could just give you the role right now and do this. Okay. There we go. All right. Should work now. All right, so Patreons should have their thing. Are there any patrons in our Discord though? Because it doesn't say anybody has the role. I don't know if it takes time to update or something. Rejoin and rejoin. I don't know. Fuck. Let me see. Server settings, roles. Yeah, it should automatically. Oh, there already are some. Okay, there already are some. They're just not membered. Okay, I got it. They're just not membered yet. Okay. Yeah, everything, it's working well. And I'm going to change the color of that, so if you're worried about the cringy color, don't worry. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and do this. So, guys, this is the only time where I'm going to be doing this live. And the reason I'm doing it live is because, again, I have no other time. So, we're going to start with Orvo. Orvo, thank you so much for being a Patreon. Will you ever interview Russell Bentley or Scott Ritter on stream? I think Russell got banned from YouTube, but Scott Ritter, I would definitely be open to doing that sometime. It's just, that's not really my specialty as far as content is concerned. Knox812, thank you so much for being a Patreon. Some people use the RLC argument as proof of socialism/communism's failures. I'm also aware...
I swear I've subscribed to your page and never saw your live streams. Now I notice I've been unsubbed. Like I don't want to support a Lebanese brother.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's so weird. That does happen to people. YouTube does do that shit. Thank you so much for that. RLC dried up even more than the fall in the Soviet Union. In your opinion, could you explain the reasons behind the RLC drying up and what could be done to solve the problem? I think the problem with the Soviet Union's lack of ecological consideration is that it had a one-sided view of modernization, which was basically imported from America. I think Stalin was changing that, or that was being changed under Stalin, but then Khrushchev reverted back to the one-sided American version of modernity. So that's why I would say the Soviets were not great when it came to dealing with ecological issues later on. Spangar, thank you so much for being a Patreon. What is your overall position on climate change? Are Larouchians right when they say that it's a psyop? Or is Caleb right when he says it's a serious problem? I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's like this weird uptick in people trying to just create points of difference with Caleb and this community. And I don't know. Well, I do know why. Fuck. Why am I playing stupid? I know exactly why. But it's just getting annoying. Hey, feds, we're onto you. We're onto you, feds. And there, to be fair, there have been people stupid enough to like get in on it. Like there are some, like that Dust James guy. He's been like, you know, boosting posts, talking shit about me or whatever. And I don't think he's a fed. I just think he's a dumbass. And then those Ewoks people, whatever, like those are just like the stupid people, like the naturally stupid people who are buying into the Fed psyops. Yankee Tanky probably is. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna talk about this shit. Fuck, I'm sorry, it's late. I've lost. Whatever, I'm not gonna talk about it. But all I'm trying to say is that we just have people. You know, feds. I know what you're doing. We're onto you. We know what you're trying to do. It's like, why do you keep doing it? I don't know. But since you are a Patreon, I don't really think Caleb disagrees with the LaRouchians. You mean the people of the Schiller Institute? I don't think anybody denies there's climate change going on. I think both Caleb and all of us pretty much are on board with and have in common is that we don't think you can respond to that through degrowth. You respond to that through unleashing the forces of production. So it's like, yeah, I don't know why you're creating that division. There, I don't really see the division. Rose Isaac, and even if it was a division, who gives a fuck, right? It's like, it's stupid. You know, this is the hallmark of stupid people is that they don't know what a primary contradiction is and a secondary contradiction. That's why all these dumb fucks have to come out and start condemning infrared, because for them, imperialism isn't the primary contradiction. The primary contradiction is, well, I don't really like cause. Yeah, nobody fucking cares, you know? Just fuck off and do your own thing then. What are your thoughts on omnism? Thank you so much, Rose Isaac, for being a Patreon. Those who say they believe on all religions, both monotheistic and polytheistic, I think it's a cope. It's stupid. Is it simply paganism renamed or potentially something more? No, I think it's just an impossible position to hold. I think they're just not being honest about the fact that they do subscribe to a specific version of religiosity and a specific religion. Point blank and simple, right? I think the problem is that the fact that there are different religions is itself a kind of scandal. And I think all of them address different things in different ways. That the fact that they've survived this long proves that. They've just addressed different things in different ways. What does that mean? Well, I'm always going... See, when you ask, I always tell you guys, maybe you shouldn't ask me these kinds of questions, because I'm a Muslim. And I'm going to give you a biased answer. My view is that Islam is the last religion that contains the key to all religions, and that you can backward translate it into any religion through Sufi mysticism, and it's like, that's my view. I really do think Islam is the ultimate religion. But you may not have the same view. You may think another religion is the ultimate religion. So I'll just give you my view, right? That's all I could do. Voidburn, thank you so much for being a Patreon. Voidburn is like... Voidburn doesn't even need to like be a Patreon to ask this question. He can just ask whenever. Previously, you said that you hate Spinoza. Does this have to do with his biggest flaw being a mechanical materialist, very one-sided? Yes, it has to do with Spinoza being both a mechanical materialist as well as the fact that Spinoza, his kind of universalism is dogmatic. It approximates in the closest possible and the most consistent possible way the metaphysics of Anglo-Saxon modernity. That's why I hate Spinoza. And everyone thinks Spinoza is so brilliant because oh my God, Spinoza solved everything. Yeah, because you're stuck within Anglo-Saxon modernity. Holy fuck, true Arab story. Guys, I did temporarily disable super chats to read these, but I'm going to go ahead and enable them because wow. That's
They're
quite
trying
the
to divide us. Yes,
donation.
I'm noticing it too.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man.
Base.
Captain Waffles.
We are 10 steps ahead of the FBI.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate you, man. True Arab Story. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Jesus. Thank you.
Based all enthusiast.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to pause the super chats, though, again. But thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Just so I can read through these. In a very old video, you said you've interest in the Aboriginal Dreamtime. Could you elaborate on your thoughts on this or Australian Dasein in general? Dreamtime is a really interesting. I see one of the things people, you're gonna catch me kind of naked here because I have to go back and look back on basically like refresh my memory about it. But I distinctly recall what I found interesting about Dreamtime was how it's both a history of a place and it's described as a time, right? So it's like this weird blending of space and time I find very interesting. Dreamtime, it's like the primordial history of the Aborigines, I think that's what it is, right? And yeah, I really have to go brush up on, I really forgot a lot of things. You know, I'm one of those people, guys, where while there are a lot of things I memorize, I don't really like, most of my knowledge isn't through memorization. It's through like, I just need like one thing to remind me like, okay, and then I remember everything, right? So I work. My knowledge is through my work. So if you put me in front of my text, for example, that I work on and I read through it and refresh my memory, it'll remind me of all the knowledge I may have lost. Because for me, knowledge is about, it's not just something you're supposed to store up and have for its own sake. It's something that's supposed to reflect and be applied in some kind of way. So I have a very like hands-on view of knowledge, which is why sometimes it's very easy for me to forget. That's right. Dreamtime happens to be one of those things. Regarding the Australian Dasein, that's actually just genuinely a hole in my knowledge. I am not that familiar with Australia in general. I do know a few. One of the things I remember about Australia is that Paul Robeson went there to sing for them, sing for the. Forgot where I learned that, but yeah, he went there to go sing for the workers in Australia, and they have a very long labor movement. And also, their government was couped by the Americans during the Cold War. So there's a few interesting things that I just haven't embarked. I think I did actually study it before. Trying to think. I think I did do this. Just let me refresh my memory. It had a lot to do with like trying to understand rurality and geography in Australia. Like, what is the Australian countryside specifically? I think it was because there was an election in the past years, and me and the collective, this was before we went public, we talked about it. We talked about the differences within Australia, and I'm trying to think there was some peculiar, interesting features that we took note of. Yeah, I'm blanking. I'm blanking. I do remember doing something with that though. I do remember like engaging with that in some capacity. Jared Schertzker, I am learning Arabic. Thank you so much for being a patron. And couldn't help but notice the prevalent themes of threes. 3 consonants, 3 syllables, 3 vowels, 3 cases, 3 indications of quantity in language. Singular equals 1, dual equals 2, plural equals 3. I can't help but make a connection with Christianity's Trinity here. That's an association I had never thought about. I wouldn't consider myself a fluent speaker. I can barely read Arabic well, so yeah, I've never thought about that. But if the language is itself, I think it has more to do probably with the, not specifically Christianity maybe, but just like the privileged ontological significance of the number 3, right? Because if you follow Hegelian, you have a Hegelian understanding of being, it takes the form of 3, right? The original, the negation, and then the negation of the negation. So this is the basic structure of being, according to Hegel. The basic structure of dialectics, right? So I think that has more to do with that. Which book / thank you so much, Marcus, for being a patron. Which book / text by Marx is your favorite? You guys, people might think it's problematic, but it's not. It's really the Jewish question. That is what had awakened me to Marx. Again, when I was studying religion and I was trying to understand religion from a Marxist perspective. I used to be like an idealist, right? I used to be like a philosophy, rationalistic kind of guy. And then Marx's Jewish question really awakened me to a realization about, wow, actually Marx does really break with all of philosophy and history. JC Denton, thank you so much for being a patron. No question for this week. Hope you have a higher tier. We want to give you more per month. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. I think you can donate as much as you want, but as far as perks are concerned, I don't really have anything to offer for now beyond the 15 tier perk. Like extra perks. There probably is some stuff I could add, so I'll think about it. But for now, I'm really trying to get the channel off the ground. And then, there's that debate we have. Okay, we're gonna cover this first. Ian Fair, thank you so much for being a patron. Why is Peter Pan syndrome so prevalent in the contemporary Western left? Is this an issue with Western culture at large? Or is this particular pathology attracted to leftism? I think it's a problem of the modern West and the crisis of perpetual adolescence. People just find it hard to grow up. That's probably the simplest way I would put it. Sankara's Result, thank you so much for being a patron. Relating to social issues, one of the key things I notice you look towards is authenticity, whether something is a natural progression that is unfolded. How do you discern that which is tethered to a cultural continuity of people and that which is contrived in an organic? Sometimes it seems obvious, but not always so. That's a good question. I think the test is whether it can reproduce itself in a non-explicit way. So if the only way something can reproduce itself and its existence is through some kind of like conscientious, explicit terms, it's inauthentic. For something to be authentic, it's able to reproduce itself without having to declare itself as such, without having to premise itself as such consciously. So that would be the difference, I think. For example, the difference between the authentic expression of a nation has more to do with the kind of everyday, spontaneous, in between the lines, kind of Freudian slip type of ways of life people have. Whereas, when you're just directly trying to fulfill a national project by fulfilling some conscious ideal, that is definitely not authentic. So that would be a way of thinking about it. This is actually a question deserving more than what I just gave, because it also has to do with negation. When something is contrived and inorganic, it takes the form of a negation, right? Now, it can try and specify itself as something particular, but it always is going to take the form of some kind of negation. It's going to negate. And it's going to try and oftentimes the error we have in the modern West is that we try to give last word to the negation. So we have this negative universalism we try to impose on all aspects of life, and we say this is the last word. But it's not the last word, right? Because positive being is the last word. Negation is a moment in a higher, in a more fundamental type of positive being. If this doesn't make sense to you, it basically is like reality. Reality exists, I guess, is a weird way of putting it, in ways that will inevitably surprise you. You can declare this is the truth all you want, but the real truth, while incorporating your insistence, is always going to be something that's not dictated on the terms of your kind of stance. You can say, this is the real thing. Well, the real thing is going to have unresolved business with you. Yes. This is kind of like when revolutionaries say, this is the real revolution! Yeah, and it happens in the cities. But then, wait a second, that's not really the real revolution. The real revolution is what's going to happen in a way that you can't premise the terms of, which is the rising of the countryside and this broader social revolution at hand, which you weren't able to foresee or expect. That's the real thing, right? So it has a lot to do with that kind of dialectic. It's a good question. Thank you so much, Ryan Tracy, for being a patron. What do you think about socialism in Africa? Is there anything to look for coming as we enter a multipolar world? Yeah, I would recommend you check out our video, The Meaning of Socialism in 2021, because there we do talk about the specific significance of the EFF. But yes, Africa is the future of socialism, my prediction. After Asia, now is the African era. We're kind of in this Asian era, and the next one will be African. I would definitely be looking at the economic freedom fighters in South Africa. Ahmed, thank you so much for being a patron. What are your thoughts on post-structuralism and thinkers like Deleuze or Derrida specifically? I actually like Derrida a lot. I haven't learned enough to not like him, but I like him. I like his hauntology stuff, and I even like he says some cool things about Islam. I think Derrida is a very dynamic thinker, non-dogmatic thinker, and I appreciate the openness of his approach. I like Derrida. Deleuze is a little more dogmatic to me. He has this kind of very strict rejection of dialectics that, I think really limits him. But he's also an extremely creative thinker, without which I'm very much indebted to Deleuze. If you couldn't tell, like, infrared is very Deleuzian. Streaming is very Deleuzian. So if you couldn't tell, I'm very much indebted to Deleuze as far as my understanding of aesthetics and just even my style. I'm kind of this force of deterritorialization. And You know, it's kind of like this infrared's growth is like this line of flight on the plane of imminence. You know, this is the egg right here. This, for all you Deleuze understanders, this right here is the egg. Now, this is the world egg right here, right? It's the plane of imminence. This guy doesn't have a username, it's just a line, but nonetheless, thank you for being a Patreon. Do you essentially agree with Heidegger's critique of Plato and his metaphysics? I think Heidegger is kind of wrong about Plato. Heidegger's Plato is the Plato of European Renaissance and Enlightenment. But Heidegger does not engage the Plato of the East. He doesn't engage the Plato of Islamic thinking. Because is Plato a specific form of the forgetting of being? I don't know. I think in the Islamic world, for example, Plato is another means by which there's also an awakening to being. There's not this foreclosure or forgetting, but a reawakening as well. Just because being assumes a determinate form does not mean that being as such is forgotten. Often, actually, the determinate form of being can also reawaken us to being as such. And I think it's like a complete inverse of the Western Plato. So I am critical of Heidegger's dismissal of Plato. Paperwin, thank you so much for being a patron. You mentioned a few months back about making a trip to Russia later this year. Did the special military operation in Ukraine thwart you? If not, what are your plans? Yeah, it did. Long story short, it definitely did. Yeah. The trip is not planned right now. Talon, thank you so much for being a patron. How would you describe the class character of service workers, and what is the significance of there being a majority of the workforce now, cities at least? I've talked about this before, and that the way service workers are producing value is not on the shop floor. Everything, if there's any contemporary capitalism, it is derivative. Capitalism does not directly manifest itself in the form of price anymore, but in the derivatives of price and in derivatives of commodities. That's where you have capitalism. Price is just a unit of account. It's a unit of accounting and planning. So it's a signal. It's a tool for information. The real capitalism and the real private property is derivative. So just like how most of the money is being made on the stock market is from derivatives, not directly from selling stocks, but from the derivative selling of contracts to have the right to sell stocks, for example. The way service workers are producing value is not through the commodity of their labor power in the form of wages, but it's the way in which this, in general, daily grind has a derivative form. And the way to understand that is you have to look at the attention economy. You have to look at the way in which people's way of life, in a sense, is somehow producing labor. Something to think about, I guess. Battalion characteristics, thank you so much for the Patreon. Do you think biology is currently undergoing a Kuhnian crisis in regard to genetic paradigm, or would you agree, I think you mean, with Feyerabend, a strong program that we could see genetics dominate biology for the foreseeable future because scientific theories only get replaced due to ideology? I'm not familiar that much with Feyerabend, but I agree with what the description you just gave of it. Yes, I think until there is an ideological revolution, political change, it's going to be dominant. Paradigms don't assume hegemony without changes in politics. That's just a fact of history. Assad K. Seto, thank you so much for being a Patreon. The deadline this month is coming up to join the CPUSA and improve our party. What can we do to really get people to join? Just keep bothering them to join. I don't know what else. Join. Join the fucking CPUSA. Join it. Because I have a lot to talk about that actually today. I have a lot to talk about in regards to that. Because they are panicking. Oh my god, they're panicking. Yeah. But join, become a delegate, join the CPUSA. That's what Infrared's here for. That's the only plan we have, is to join our Communist Party. Hashtag. Thank you so much for being a Patreon. What's your take on the Chinese 1 and 2 child policy, and what is your response to those comparing it to the West population control in the global South? It's not really my business, but I would not advocate for anything like that in America. And I think it was a mistake. You know, if you ask me, I think internally in China, they're starting to kind of realize it was a mistake. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. I think it was a mistake. Allende, and I don't think it's the same as the population control in the global South. Allende's computer, thank you so much for being a Patreon. Have you read Industrial Society and Its Future? Who wrote that? Oh. You mean, for some reason, I thought the Kaczynski book, I thought it was named something different. No, I'm confusing that with Zerzan, the guy John Zerzan. No, I didn't read it, but I know his arguments and shit. And I haven't read it, no. I know he is very, very critical of the left in the book. Landon, thank you so much for being a patron. Can you explain the socialist commodity? Well, that's gonna be hard. Mostly because, alright, as Stalin understood it, a socialist commodity was a commodity whose, what is the word? Whose freedom of exchange was severely restricted and confined by the state. So the commodity is not universal anymore. It takes a determinate form and relationship. It's a determinate. It has a determinate exchange value, right? Sorry, is that the good word? Is that a good word for it? It's like you can only exchange it within the context of a specific relationship with the state. So that's a socialist commodity. But I want to go a step further and talk about derivatives. And is that a socialist commodity? I mean, that's a lot of open questions. Demented Manatee, thanks so much for being a Patreon. You talked about The Wandering Earth before, so I was curious if you watched Interstellar, and if you did, what you thought of it. I watched it in IMAX, and it looked cool. But I thought it was cringe. And they were like, the answer is love. It's love. That's the end. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. That's like the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It's just so stupid and cringe. Love is the answer. It's love, man. That's the answer to everything, man. The problem of Einstein's theories and everything. Bruh, shut up, dude. I thought that was cringy. Tom, thank you so much for being a patron. Do you have any insight on the significance of the spine? Nick Land in Fanged Numina. What is its relevance to him? What is that book that Urbanomic published? It's called Spinal Catastrophism, right? And then Nick Land, he has this character he created called Professor Baker. And it's his what is it? Theory of cosmotechnics. What is it called? Trauma. His theory of what is it fucking called? Fuck. Geotrauma. Geological trauma. Yeah, I have any insight on the specific significance? I forgot. No, I don't remember anything. But I think the idea is that like the spine is this index of geological, is it ruptures, like punctuate equilibrium or something. But the spine is what distinguishes us from all animals, right? So there's, I don't remember. I really don't remember, honestly, God. Ben Ghazi, thank you so much for being a patron. Say you grow the infrared media to be a rich organization that embeds itself firmly as part of the mainstream media. Is the idea then to keep it strictly informational, philosophical, like a refined ML version of Fox News, CNN, or do you plan to venture more into art? Would you rather have just people making infrared stuff on their own, or do you think it would make sense to make a more official, appoint people from the collective to create it? I'm asking as a video game. I think both. We as the bigger we get, we want to do our own thing. But if you're inspired by us, obviously that helps a lot as well. So yeah, for now we're keeping it to the information philosophy thing, but aesthetics are very important, and there's a huge aesthetical component to infrared, which is non-explicit. It's something I don't talk about there. It's very important. Like for example, the way our channel looks is all very intentional. The aesthetic we have is a very intentional aesthetic. We want to broaden in that. Exoshell 1, thank you so much for being a patron. Thoughts on Leibniz? I never read him on my own. I just know about what Kantbot and Logo say about him, but I've never read him on my own. I did know about the description of Leibniz through Hegel. Hegel's history of fuck. What was that fucking book Hegel wrote about where he details the history of philosophy? Philosophy of history, I think. Is it actually just called The History of Philosophy? Yeah, well, anyway, I know Hegel's description of Leibniz, and to me, Hegel's description of Leibniz was Hegel thought Leibniz had a one-sided, undialectical view of reality, his monad. Oh yeah, philosophy of history is where he's talking about like literal history. Like he's talking about China and he's talking about India and the Islamic world and Europe. And then the history of philosophy is where he actually goes through the history of Western philosophy. Monads. Monads. I mean, Leibniz, he the monads and the infinite. Fuck. What did Hegel say about Leibniz again? Fuck. What did he say? He said I know Kant broke with Leibniz because for Kant, Leibniz was beginning from... He didn't like the way Leibniz thought that one has to begin with some kind of arbitrary premise set in motion a reason. Kant didn't like that. Like the arbitrary axiomatic aspect of Leibniz thinking. Yeah, Justin, yeah. Him and Newton and force and understanding. I have to go back. I have to go back and read what Hegel said. I don't remember. Boki, thanks so much for being a patron. How much do you know about the Vietnam and how they are developing socialism? If you do, could you expand on it? I know very little about Vietnam and how they're developing socialism. I do think geopolitics is the most important thing. And I don't think Vietnam has the significance China does. I think China... See, Vietnam was like a Soviet-style communist state. And then they shifted to a socialist market economy. I'm not exactly sure how it works in Vietnam. I just know that they never passed through Chinese scope of transforming and adjusting Marxism to local conditions. Their socialism and their communism is still Soviet supported. Vietnam is legit underrated country. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think, if anything, I think Vietnam is a little hyped up among the Western left a little too much, and I'm very suspicious of it. I'm very suspicious of the way the Western left, kind of should always be suspicious. It's just like, and I'm not saying that to knock on Vietnam, because it's the same thing's true for Palestine, right? They do the same shit. So it's like they have bad intentions. They have bad intentions. They had their own reform and opening up. Yeah, but they just, it wasn't the same as China's though. There's differences. It was not the same as China's at all. Dude, why? Like, John Smith? Are you a member? Are you a member? No, you're not. So I can talk shit about you, dude. You literally typed in chat, "Oh, they have their own right." I know they fucking have a market economy, dude. They don't have a command economy, but they started out with the Soviet version of communism / socialism, whatever. And China didn't. China overcame that in its own way before its reforming and opening up. So that has obviously implications about the differences between China and Vietnam to this day. The fact that they both have markets or whatever and have private sectors isn't really enough. That wasn't, I don't know who the fuck that was. It's really not enough to convince me that they're the same. And I admit I have to study it a little bit more. Anyway, I think Vietnam also, the government owns all the land too, right? They still have public ownership of all land, which is very important. Let's see, do they? Let me look it up. Vietnam ownership of... Yeah, that's a very important thing. Let's see, Vietnam versus China economy. Let me actually look this up. Vietnam. Okay. This is an important thing. Just reading Wikipedia. So this, I've read these things before. I just refreshed my memory. So the Vietnamese don't consider their system as a form of socialism. They say they're transitioning to socialism, but it's not a form of socialism. It's not even a So Vietnam has more decentralization and autonomy of local governments. Greater. That's not essential to me. The Wikipedia is not enough. I have to study this shit. It's not enough. It's just too vague. I have to actually study that. Jan Brett, thanks so much for being a patron. In your view, what is the significance about the major federal election at the level of an individual voter? Why do people feel a moral significance to their individual vote? Because people want to take responsibility for the system that they live in some kind of way. They want to feel like they have the power to. They don't want to feel like it's just a form of cope. They vote and like, oh, I'm responsible for this. They don't want to feel the crushing weight of the fact that they are completely powerless. And that this system we have is completely alien from them. There's not even a little bit of it that comes from them. It's a complete alien system that they had no part in being responsible for whatsoever. I think it's the most shameful cuck thing you could do is vote especially in a general election. It's the most cuck thing you could fucking do. You're basically you're saying, you know what? I'm part of this. You're not part of this, dude. Those candidates weren't chosen by you. You're not part of anything. You're not part of anything. You still read every day. No, I have been. This week has fucked me over in terms of my progress. Yeah, I've been spending this whole week frantically dealing with bullshit. And then today, I spent the whole day cleaning up my apartment. Wow, I cleaned a lot. Broad question. Thank you so much, Sloth, for being a patron. How should policing be handled in the United States? Militias. You should have a militia system of public security. That's what I think. We should have a militia system. We really need to reform. We need to. Part of America becoming a civilization also has more to do with tighter, stronger communities. This is what I think the model for American socialism will be. We're going to have tighter, stronger communities, but there's going to be like a huge diversity of them. It's going to be like Curtis Yarvin's patchwork. It's going to be like a patchwork of all these different. We're probably not going to have 50 states in the American socialist future. We'll have like 1 million states. And it'll be the United States of like fucking 10,000 states or some shit. But they'll all be communities. They'll all be communities. And the individual freedom aspect will be like, you have the right to exit. You can exit your patchwork and go to another one. Just like what Moldbug said, right? I don't know. Maybe it won't be like that. But I do think I want more decentralization. I want more states. America, I want more states. More states. Within our borders. I'm not saying we expand. I'm saying within Canada. I seriously don't think Canada. I don't know. Like, am I allowed to say that I don't really recognize Canada? Like, no one's ever given me a good reason to recognize it. You know, like that Ewoks guy. He's like, oh, we're gonna have a Pan-American. What? So hold on. Canada population. So Canada is a population of 40 million, and Canada thinks they're gonna have an equal relationship with us in a future North America. Shut the fuck up, Canada. You're not. We're gonna treat you like how we treat our coastal elites. You're literally under the sovereignty of the British Crown. Okay, these Canadians need to fucking sit down and humble themselves. They need to really sit the fuck down, because Canada's not a nation. Okay, it's not a real country. I'm sorry, it's not. I just don't see how it is. I don't. You can disagree with me. I'm not convinced. Convince me. I think Canada is part of the American nation, but it's still ruled by the British Crown. It's unfinished 1776. And then you might say, oh, Haas, they had their, revolution in the 19th century, and America sided with the British against them. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Fuck the American government for doing that. They were traitors, because we should have supported the Canadian Republicans. But that being said, just like I support the truckers, of course I support the truckers. But let's be real. These urban Canadian intellectuals, socialists, and communists have way too much influence in our fucking movement. They have way too much influence. Just like how California has too much influence in our shit. Just like how New York has too much influence in the communist whatever. The Canadians have way too much influence. Way too much influence. Sit down, Canada. Hold your horses and sit down. I want some people from Idaho, and I want people from, Texas, and I want people from Wyoming stand up and have their voices be heard, because Canada's got a little too much say in our fucking shit. Suze, thank you so much for being a patron. How do you explain the right-wing obsession with immigration and the so-called border crisis? How do we address this as communists? Simple. We need to reassert a basic sense of sovereignty and work out a deal with Mexico so that we can have a clear economic relationship, instead of the chaos we have now. Simple. The open borders is not a communist position. It's not a communist position, and it never was. We're not for open borders, okay? We're not. Maybe if we work something out with Mexico and we can have a deal that then there can be more lax restrictions as long as it's controlled and not chaotic, where, so much drugs are being pushed through the border. Because that's the problem, right? So anyway, that is the extent of the questions. Thank you guys so much for being patrons. And so I'm going to post this to the Patreon. I'm going to be posting this to the Patreon, like this infrared webcast thingy. And then, maybe there were new comments. There might have been new comments. Yeah, there were new comments. A lot of people had new comments. Or just 4 people. Okay, this is it. We're drawing it here. So that's it. No more comments, just this. Okay? Alright. Lado Miffy, thank you so much for being a patron. Can you go into what you disagree with on Wittgenstein? I disagree with the entire purport of analytical philosophy and the view of you know what I disagree with Wittgenstein about? His idea of nonsense. That if something cannot be pegged down to possessing an empirically observable referent, then it is not an object of language. Cannot be a real object of language. It's nonsense. That's what I disagree with. If Wittgenstein says, what does he say? The limits of my language are the limits of my world. I disagree with this. I fundamentally disagree with this psychotic view. Language delivers us. The limits of our language are not the limits of the world. So I disagree with that. Yeah, he's like a Cartesian linguist, is what I don't like about Wittgenstein. That's the first Wittgenstein only. Yeah, but I have to generalize, you know? I don't like his idea of nonsense. Anya, are the infrared showdowns gone for good? For now, they are. But we might bring them back in the future when YouTube gets more community integration. Morlock, thanks so much for being a patron. Keep doing what you're doing. From an old ML to the young, this is the real tendency of the old American left reborn. Thank you, Chris Morlock. I'm glad to hear that, man. Thank you. Citator, thank you so much for being a patron. It always amazes me how in Western education, they will present just about any philosopher or great thinker in multiple lights, often leaving them open to interpretation. But with Marx, they always lock him into a perfectly limited category with little or no room for interpretation. Because Marx is the entire destruction of Anglo-Saxon modernity. You go down the Marx rabbit hole and you destroy the foundation of contemporary pedagogy itself. You destroy the entire, it's like this little black hole. You get sucked into it, and then nothing is the same ever again. All thinkers, all philosophy, everything gets put into a different light. And actually, that's Hegel. That's what Hegel did for philosophy. But you need to do it through Marx because they have domesticated Hegel. They can't domesticate Marx because Marx proved the significance of German idealism in practice. You see, these academics, these Anglo-Saxon academics, they've domesticated German idealism. Only Marx proved, he brought it to the heights of actually destroying, in reality, what the German idealists destroyed in philosophy. So that's a good example of why Marx has to be locked into a specific category. It's too much wealth in Marx. He's a rabbit hole that leads to the destruction of the very institutional foundation of academia itself. That makes it challenging to offer on alternative views on Marxism. From what angle do you think it is best to attack this? I believe in the complete destruction of Western education. Complete destruction of Western academic institutions. The only thing I agree with, abolish this, abolish that. How about we abolish college? Abolish college, abolish Western pedagogy, and destroy the university. Destroy both what Lacan calls university discourse. Also destroy the institution of the university. Defund college, defund universities, defund them all. No, I do not support debt relief for college. I support all debt relief. I don't support free education. I don't. I support no education. I don't support free education. I support no education. Defund, fire every professor, fire every professor, fire every professor, every single professor, and make them work. Fire all professors, all of them. All universities must be grounded into dust in my future. Period. The only education we should have in America is hands-on education, technical school. Technical school, community college, hands-on work. That's all. STEM, hands-on, real work. Finally, yeah, trade school. That's what I believe in. Trade school. Finally, if all the humanities shit, you should learn that on the internet. Don't learn it in a fucking college setting. You're gonna waste your time. You can read go to a library, read it at the library. Stop wasting our resources for this dumbass humanity. Defund the humanities is my slogan. Defund the humanities. Anywho, let's read our super chats. Thank you, Coding.
How will you grow the CPUSA if its membership is currently smaller than a Magic the Gathering convention? Also, is there a struggle session tonight?
Yes.
I was a Trump voter, but your videos have had me rethink many ideas. You're one of the first non-identity obsessed lefties I've encountered.
Thank you so much, cool dude.
Based.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Malha.
Aaron wrote the Torah. Jesus didn't write. Muhammad was illiterate. Maybe God didn't want us to idolize words made by man but receive the message.
I think so.
Why
Thank
do
you,
Western
Miki.
leftists obsess about trans stuff? And why do they hate people who don't?
I'll answer that. Thank you, son, for the thank you, Magnar.
Do
Appreciate
you know anything about Dave Emery?
I don't. I don't know anything. Doesn't sound familiar. Thank you so much for the donation. Thorstein, thank
Do
you so
you
much,
support
man.
the creation of a Nordic Union?
I don't know. I have no idea. These are hard questions tonight, huh?
Just getting caught up now. Thanks for the detailed response on my question. Thumbs
Thank you
up.
so much, Sankar. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Sun7. Regarding the CPUSA, yeah, it's small. That's why we're gonna take it over, because it's so fucking small. Thank you,
I'm
Dionysian.
looking to start studying ML, communism in depth in my spare time. Can we get a reading list? If you Google it, then you get a lot of bias from different communities. Can you recommend the must-reads for the guerrilla army?
Yes. And you know what? Thank you so much, Dionysian. I've been talking with the showrunners, and we kind of want to put together like an intro text to Marxism, Leninism. We want to put together an intro. I would start. Everybody says Michael Parenti. He's a good place to start. Michael Parenti is really good to start, actually. And then beyond that, you know, want to get into the philosophy stuff. Grover Furr. I think, like, get to the facts first. You know, Paul Cockshott, Michael Parenti, Grover Furr. And then once you get to this, like, perspective where you can be like, yeah, on a factual level, they've been lying about the whole thing. Then if you want to understand the philosophy behind it and understand, then I can give you much more. But, like, I think those basics of just knocking down the lies, with clobbering down and knocking down the lies with your bare fists, I think you got people like Grover Furr, you've got people like Michael Parenti, you've got people like Paul Cockshott. He does this too, actually. And then David Harvey he's good. Yeah, he has good introductions to Capital and stuff. You really want to understand what communism is about. I would say Thank you, Anonymous. I don't know why I didn't read. Did you ever find the subject of law to be deliberately complicated, like a deliberate tool of oppression? No, I didn't. Law is very simple to me. Law school is very easy. It's very simple. It's all so bafflingly simple that in my law papers, I tried to like be more creative and interesting. I was like, oh, what about looking at it from this perspective? And my professor would read it. She would be like, what, why would you say that? And I'm like, well, because she's like, this is like too philosophical. Like, don't, just be simple. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just do the boring thing. Law is very simple. Give me a sec. Like, I remember there was this argument about, I had to argue something about Muslim worship and whether it was okay for there to be a Quranic text on a city hall. And I was like, what did I argue? I basically said the state in general draws inspiration from. No, what did I say? I made a very complicated philosophical argument. It was like super complicated. What the fuck did I say though? I was like,
based.
For the
Thank you so
future
much,
union of
Brains
Scandinavian
In.
socialist republics.
Thank you so much, man. What the fuck did I say? I was like, skip the message. I have no idea. What year are you in law school? Is it worth? Yeah, it's probably worth it. I don't know. You have to have a career of some kind. Not everybody can, be a streamer or something. I was like, it was something about civil society in the state. Fuck, what did I say? It was like complicated. And I think I was assigned to argue against it. Actually, not for it, but against it. Yeah, I don't know if the donation's gonna go through. I don't know how much money this is. But thank you for the dono. I was under the impression that you hated Paul Cockshot. Can you elaborate? Thanks. I think that's because early on, when I first started streaming, people had this like lack of appreciation for both Stalin's kolkhozes and Deng Xiaoping's reform and opening up, and the unique nature of Chinese socialism. And I didn't like this idea of socialist planning, which was based on an all-encompassing, like, rational planning, conscious planning, all-encompassing of the whole economy with no room for contingency and no room for an acknowledgement of the limitations of state power. And I thought it was like a cope, which did not explain the experience of socialism in the 20th century. With that being said, Paul Cockshot is very knowledgeable, extremely knowledgeable, and extremely articulate. I very much disagree with him, but I don't know if I agree with his solution. And I brought this up before. I brought up the issue with him specifically around this issue of like, you don't account for culture. That's the problem. It doesn't account for culture. Anyway, I'm just a little distracted because I'm like trying to think about that legal argument. What was that fucking legal argument? I might even have it here. Let me just see if I have it. Let me actually just see if I have it. I might still fucking have it. Let me see. I'll keep coming. Let me see. It's from 2021. Yeah, it's from 2021. So it's got to be here somewhere. Turn it. I think I have it saved on another fucking fuck. I don't have it. I don't fucking have it. I do not fucking have it. Documents. Let me see if I have it. Nope, it's not here. I don't have it.
Based.
Cockshot is writing a book right now resurrecting mechanical materialism. He's put out a series of lectures on it. It's aggravating he's so hostile to Hegel and the dialecticians.
Yeah, I'm not too intimidated by that because I think he will fail. But he'll do something interesting by failing. He'll at least produce something interesting in the process, maybe. And maybe it will make people think about Hegel, and maybe it'll make people think about Hegel, the new appreciation. Just like Nick Land hates dialectics, well, that's why Land wasn't able to understand Xi's era of Chinese history. Xi Jinping thought. The number one deficiency of non-dialectic thinking, it's either runs into the issue of not being self-aware about the way in which, from Kant, for example, it's pre-critical. In some capacity, it's not aware of the way in which it's culpable for the reality that it's taking one-sidedly to be an object of inquiry. That's like the easiest form of pointing out the flaw of lack of dialectic. Or in an imminent way, it will stumble upon mysteries of nature. We have this in modern physics itself, that you're going to take to be mysteries of nature rather than deficiencies in your understanding. So does tonight's stream have no structure, just hours of random thought? You are actually permabanned for life for saying that, because I'm stuck on one thought specifically right now, which is I'm trying to think about the legal reasoning I was using. But you're permabanned for saying that. So bye. I'd user from channel. You're done forever. There's no coming back, no right to appeal. Alright. zero right to. Thank you so much, Lex Manka. Appreciate you.
In the old Discord, you talked about how Ayn Rand was influenced by Lenin. Could you expand on that and your general thoughts on Ayn Rand and her writings?
Yes. Yes. So Ayn Rand, TLDR, her whole philosophy was ripped from Lenin's materialism and imperial criticism. Except she ran into this problem and this issue of the object, which is also the same thing as, I'm kind of close to Ayn Rand a little, because we deal with the same problem, except we deal with it in opposite ways. It's the problem of the object. For Ayn Rand, what is an object? And to be a consistent materialist, for example, how can you deal with these supra-objectal categories like class and society and history and whatever, when these are not, how do these become determinate as objects? So, maybe I'm butchering it, this is just my interpretation. For Ayn Rand, you end up with the conclusion that no, only the individual is a tangible, real thing. There's no society, there's no class, no communist collectivity, just rule of men over other men. Rule of one individual over other individuals, for example. So you end up with a situation in which all of society, including socialism and communism, is just a way to stifle the creative inner potential of the individual. So the class of the proletariat becomes replaced with the individual, for Ayn Rand, as the subject of her kind of Promethean philosophy. So she basically retreats from the challenge of the era and returns back to the Anglo-Saxon metaphysics, which is why, believe it or not, Ayn Rand's aesthetic of contemporary objectivism, it's the aesthetic of Art Deco from the 20s. Why is it Art Deco from the 20s? Because this is the golden era, the climax and high point of Anglo-Saxon modernity. And then 1929 is the Wall Street crash, and then we're not living in capitalism anymore. So it's this utopian reactionary socialism of laissez-faire liberal capitalism, which is also happening alongside the Austrian school and those libertarians and so on and so on. I don't hate Ayn Rand. I don't hate her. I think she's fun to read. She doesn't bother me or piss me off because I'm not threatened by her. And if she bothers you, you're probably threatened by her, which means she's probably right and you're wrong in some way, right? So anyway, I want to talk about a few things. So the Discord, I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm only going to say this once, but we're not playing around this time with that Discord. So if you so much as make a mistake, you're banned with no right to appeal. I mean, you really have to read those rules because I want you to be paranoid about the rules. I want you to read the rules and just think, is what I'm about to type, can that in any way be construed as a violation of Discord's rules? Because if it is, you're banned, right? And most of the time, it's common sense. Is Discord up now? Oh, yeah. You can find it on our channel page to get in our Discord. The Discord's open. But, yeah, we're not giving any second chances because it's actually disgusting that people immediately rushed in the Discord and started fucking up. And those people got banned. It's like, Discord's not a place for you to vent. It's not a place to be edgy. That's the Telegram. You want to say whatever the fuck you want in Pol Pot post? Get in the Telegram chat and go fuck around in the Telegram chat. Discord is Weenie Hut Juniors. The Salties platoon is Telegram. If you want the Discord, we just have it because there's more features and shit. But like at the end of the day, Discord's Weenie Hut Juniors, and it's the most pussified fucking platform on the internet. It's more pussified than fucking Twitter. It's more pussified than Club Penguin. It's more pussified than Habbo Hotel. It's more pussified than fucking Fortnite. It's just a pussy app. And you need to fucking act accordingly. Okay. Says the link is expired. On our channel? Okay, then join our Telegram, and then the link is in our Telegram. Is it not? Can you not access it through the Telegram either? I'm not really in a rush. I know we will never grow the Discord to be as big as it was, because that was through Twitch. I know that Discord will never be as big as it was with 5,000 members. Maybe it'll take like a year for that to happen, if we're still around then, right? Yeah, Telegram's the saloon and Discord's the place to not be fucking around. Anyway. Telegram's always going to be permanent. Discord's not going to be that reliable or permanent. Anyway, guys, something I want to talk to you about. First of all, the guy Asseter Bear, Santa Claus creepy guy, he is still fucking posting about the debate we're gonna have Saturday. He's still posting about it. Like, look at this shit. What is it? He won't shut the fuck. Like, bro, wait until the debate. It's clear he's nervous. This is how I know people are nervous. They never shut the fuck up about like the confrontation that's gonna happen. I'm dead silent because I'm just like, okay, it's gonna happen, and just wait for it to happen. But he doesn't want to wait for it to happen. He just keeps posting on it. Okay, so I'm debating this fellow has on Saturday. In a debate, I feel like it's often productive to have specific questions to speak on. Here's a few I have. Okay, that's one. The other is okay. OMG, this is hilarious. A thumbnail image battle. Here's the real one, though. Your favorite communist professor. Trump was a greater anti-imperialist than all their Bezos fraud. Reactionary socialist. And then your favorite communist professor. And also, your favorite soda fan. And please let me smell your pussy. Please. Have sex with me, your favorite communist professor. I want sex from my comrades. All right. So yeah, there's that. And then he made this. Then he also responded to my thing because this is my thumbnail, and it's communist versus weird hippie. This is just this quick thumbnail I made. And he also responded to it on mine. It's like, dude, just shut the fuck up. He was saying shit the whole time. What is the other thing he said? He was like, comrades, I know little of Haas. Can you help me with what are the main points of his thinking? I did discover this little gem in his essay baselessly attacking my comrade Luna Oi. Luna Oi.
Lysenko
Thank you,
proves why this
Lysenko
good
Medical
guy looks
School.
weird. Epigenetics and acquired characteristics.
I think he's like a white Sufi. He's like a white guy who converted to Sufism. I think that's like he's like, let's check it out a little bit because I want to show you guys this. I want to show you guys this. It's actually weird. So he does these like meditation streams. And let's sort most popular. All right, so he's not very successful channel. Let's just check out the meditation streams.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the class. Great to be with you all. You know, this class is about two things.
He's like a weird California hippie. He's like this hippie guy from California who happens to like Stalin, which is very scary because like California, they kind of like are psychotic and they lost their minds. And they're like, oh, universal love. And I'm like, why does he like Stalin? He probably associates Stalin with like violence and, stuff and power. And he wants, imagine a hippie dictatorship. It's basically Hitler, right?
That are often feel pretty opposing, right? That is gratitude and desire. Because gratitude is like, I'm grateful for what I have, right? Desire is like, ooh, I'm very aware of what I don't have and I want.
I think a lot of us are more familiar with one of those.
Which one?
What the fuck?
One is it though?
Ah.
Watch the class
It's
and
for
find out.
you. It's for you to discover.
That is for you to discover, exactly. That's the answer that we fall back on a lot as meditation teachers, isn't it?
Bro, this feels dirty. This is 100-view video. This is so gross. This is actually so gross. What is this?
Yes, 100%.
That's the truth that you will discover, my young Padawan. My name is Dr. Asatar Bear. My co-teacher here, Leah Schaefer. We're here
Hello.
this week to talk about.
This is the California people. I swear to God, these people are like, yeah, it has, the professor that defends Stalin has to be the, just get this guy out of here, bro. You know who's based? You want to know who's based? You want to know who's based? The only professor that I recognize, guess who? Guess who? Grover Furr, straight out of New Jersey. That's a real one. Grover Furr, straight out of New Jersey. That's a real Stalinist professor. This is madness. This is psychosis, okay? This is California. They're too, you know what California's problem is? They're just believing aesthetics. They're too far away from the head of America. So like me in Michigan, we have to deal with like real engineering issues. We actually deal with engineering. We have that mentality where it's like real substance, real life. And then in fucking California, they're just like, yeah. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You're too far from the head of America. You know what America is? I'm going to give you a map of America. I swear to God, everything will make sense. Everything will make sense. I'm going to show you this map. Okay. So, this is the head of America, right? New York, this is this is like the pineal gland or some shit. This is the brain. New York. This is the head. And then this is all like head, right?
Oz, what are your thoughts on BLM, COVID, Ukraine, and abortion?
Orville, thank you for the 5, but it's like, do I have to answer all that shit? This is the head. And then you get here, and then this is kind of like the breast right here, North and South Carolina. It's like the breast, right? And then you go down here, and this is the penis. This is the penis. And then this is why Florida man, see, to make sense of it, all of the universities here, all of the brains that run America, universities, smart, people who think with their heads, glasses wearers, urban, here, right? And then the perverts are here. The Florida man, they're all perverts, and it's a penis. That's why. And Texas is the well, it's, if America's like a hermaphrodite, it's either the stomach or it's the like vagina or something. I don't know. And then yeah. But this is the point I wanted to make, is that this is the ass of America. Specifically, this Los Angeles right here, this is the anus of America. All of the shit is coming out of here. So this is anal. This is the anus of America, okay? That's all I wanted to really say. This is the anus of America, okay? So they don't see the reason there's all these weird hippies and shit, like Marianne Williamson, whatever, in California, is because they're so far away from the head and the brain. They just get to believe whatever they want without any oversight from the university discourse, because there's like no control. It's just uncontrollable shitting out of everything, right? Then this is the heart. This is heartland. The Midwest is the heart, the beating heart of America. This is the heart right here. Beating heart of America. And this is our back. This is our back. So that's my map of America. Okay, so continuing.
About heart rhythm meditation is a method of meditation that comes out of Sufism. We do a little bit of philosophizing. We try to be useful, and then we also do some meditation. That's
Yes.
our.
This is definitely what happens.
It's so important to be grateful for what you have, right?
Mhm.
It's so important to be grateful for the process, right?
Mhm.
It's so important to be grateful even for the things that you don't have, for the things that you're longing for the things that you want, right?
You know, I feel like this is all hippies do. They just say shit, but like they say it in like a mystical way. They're like, it's so important to just be happy. It's so important to breathe. It's so important to just like breathe. It's so important to just have a positive mentality. Ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. And it's like all they had to say was have a positive mentality, but they add all of these like theatrics to it to make it seem like there's this magical effect to what they're saying. They're just saying really simplistic shit. Okay, that's all they're doing.
And that is some of the hardest things to be grateful for, right? Being grateful for the fact that you want something. I mean, when we want something, we're like, why don't I have that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what happens when you don't have Lacan and Freud in Marxism. You have like scared, weird people like this instead, who wear bead necklaces.
It's
That's
hard to
odd.
be grateful for the stuff you don't have, you know?
Mhm.
Look at this. We have a comment already.
Yay.
Damn, 2 minutes in and they have one whole comment. Damn.
New age bullshit, right? But being grateful is, in fact, an incredible power. It gives you peace and stability.
All right, okay, if he keeps talking shit on Twitter, I'm gonna go in the debate and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna like do some like fucking chants or some shit. He's gonna be like, no, stop! You don't know what you're doing!
In the midst of life's.
Check. No, Chris, delete all that shit. Delete all that shit. Delete whatever you put in fact checking. Delete that shit, bro.
Based.
Check out the old photos of this guy from 2013 I put in fact.
So I urge you, develop this power. Stretch it.
Bro, they're all rallying around this guy. All of my haters all of my like leftist haters, Luna Oi people, they're all rallying around this champion. And it's like, are you sure this is the guy you want?
Yourself, challenge yourself. What can I be grateful for that I never ever thought of as a gift before? Can I be grateful for the things that I lack? Can I be grateful for the things that cause me pain?
Why am I such like a cranky guy? I'm like a New York cranky, impatient guy. Like, if someone told me to do this shit, I'm like, get on with it, man. What's the point of this shit? Give me the meat and potatoes and give me the results. I'm that type of guy. I'm like, what the hell is this shit, man? Get on with it. Stop wasting my time. We're wasting precious time. I got places to be. You know what I mean? I'm that type of guy. I'm not the type of dude who just sits and wastes time and goes, really want to be grateful for everything in my life. And gratefulness. It's like, you spent an hour doing this. I would rather fucking spend an hour fucking watching pigeons.
Imagine if you could. Give it a shot.
Someone says this is not even meditation. What is it? What is it if it's not Yeah, I did way better than this dude. Remember my fucking 3 hours silent stream? That was a true meditation stream. That was true meditation, okay?
With your powerful...
The mysticism you love is way more crazy than this. Yeah, but it's not silly. This isn't really, it's only crazy because it's silly. It's not crazy because of like how out of this world it is. This is like silly. This is this is very pretentious.
Full breath that is connected to your heart and even to your heartbeat. Different things are possible than when your breath is not.
I wonder if this guy knows I'm like literally a dark wizard. Like, I spent like years studying the occult. I'm a very dark person, guy. Like, I'm a very like spooky guy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying I'm like, you know, a closed-minded person. I've seen things and I've done things, and I'm kind of a spooky guy, which I keep under wraps. But it's like, I wonder if he knows I'm like an evil wizard or some shit. He's gonna be like, dude, he's probably like preparing himself with like incense and all that. Like, this guy Haas is a fucking demon!
Conscious, not rhythmic, not deep, not full. There's more.
Occult, Blavatsky and stuff? No. No.
Oh man, fuck.
More you're capable of in this state than you might be thinking of.
At the end of the day, I'm an American, which means I'm not pretentious. Yeah, I do a lot of spooky stuff. I'm not pretentious about it. I'm a David Lynchian type of guy. I'm like, at the end of the day, who knows, right? At the end of the day, I'm like, works, it works, right? I don't care about dogmas. But I don't know what the fuck it is.
Now, as you breathe out, think of that which you long.
Dude is low-key way more base than most Americans, given his subscription to Salafist philosophy. You mean Sufi, not... I meant Salafist. Bruh. Bro, he would be based if he was into Salafist philosophy. He would be based. He's not based. Yeah, he's into Sufism and shit, but it's like, don't trust these like American white Sufis. They literally don't know what they're doing. It's just a fraud. I've never seen one who understood anything.
For.
Mm.
Now, the things that we desire are so powerful, they're so immediate. They're sort of always in our consciousness at some level, right? I want this. Sometimes we don't even let ourselves know, though, because we know, right? Desire is so powerful. If we let ourselves
Why
know,
is this the representative of American Stalin sympathy?
know what it is, well, that's sort of scary. Then it's like, well, what are you doing about that?
His Salafi meditation.
But hopefully, with the power of your breath, with this deep, full, rhythmic, heart-centered breath that we're working on,
I feel bad for this poor person. They're just not very smart. They're like, there's clearly something going on here.
that is a study of a lifetime.
You guys ever just manipulate people into like thinking you're it's
And hey, if you don't feel like you've mastered it, great. That's just being honest. You probably haven't. I don't feel like I've mastered it. I've been doing this for decades.
Mm.
This is a lifelong study. But you might notice that breathing in this manner gives you very different energy. That allows you to do things within yourself that you might not be able to do without that. So on your exhalation, become aware of that power
and I'm the weirdo. I'm the weirdo.
of desire.
You know what I do? I give you results. I never do this shit to guys, everybody breathe. I never do this shit. I just give you results. I have weird views of reality, but I keep them private because I can't prove them. I give you the results on screen. I don't do this shit.
And energize that desire with your breath. Now, this is very different.
All I said was I don't know if T-Rexes are real. All I did was question T-Rexes, and I'm the bad one. All I did was question T-Rexes. That's all I did. I'm the weird one for questioning T-Rexes. But this is okay.
What we're often taught to do in meditative or spiritual traditions, it's often we're taught to, the desire is in our way, that it's a kind of attachment, that it's going to cause us suffering and so on. Will it do that? Yes, of course it will do that. Will it cause us suffering?
What's
Sure.
the issue with T-Rexes? I just don't care to believe in them anymore. What are the downsides if I just don't believe in them? Tell me. Tell me why I should care. What difference will it make if I start denying them? Because personally, I think they're kind of stupid. I just think they're really stupid. I just think they're really stupid as in I just think the idea of them are stupid. And I cannot imagine how they would have sex. And it's never been proven to me. It's never been proven to me. I don't know what the reasoning they have for these T-Rexes, but it just fucking sounds stupid to me.
Right. Because it's an incompleteness. But
They're just giant chickens. I don't know. I don't know. I don't fucking.
that's part of being alive, right? I mean, none of us are perfect beings, you know. We have desires. We have those desires for a reason, right? The universe is longing to complete itself in us through us, right? It is not wise to denigrate or ignore that longing. It's there for
This is like a GTA NPC, stereotypical hippie California.
reason. What we can do is see all aspects of it, feel all aspects of it. It's not just us. It's not just, oh, I'm so small, I want this. There's a force that is behind us, right? There is an infinite longing that we can tap into. And if we can do that,
Bro, if like this is what happens when you don't have Lacan, you don't have Freud. And it's like these things approximate roughly to intuitions people have, and that's why people buy into this dumb shit. But it's like if you had a science of it like Lacan provides, it's like I could explain to you why this shit works for some people. It's because they roughly approximate a real structure of human subjectivity, right? But it's like they don't have any scientific understanding of it. So they just have this dumb, ooh, desire, ooh, the longing, ooh.
well, that's really something, right? Because we are then in touch with the infinite. And that is the truth of
This
our
is not Sufism. This is mental illness.
being. We
This is
are
not
infinite.
Sufism at all. This is mental illness.
We think of ourselves as limited. We think of ourselves as separate. We think of ourselves as small. But we're not. Each one of us is all that there is. We are unlimited.
Yeah, I want to know why this guy's a doctor. What is he a doctor for? And by the way, Kantbot, I learned this from Kantbot. If I beat Asatar Bear in a debate, I get his PhD. I get his PhD. If I beat him in a debate, his PhD belongs to me. Check this out. Look what Kantbot said.
Grad school. I mean, I have a PhD. I didn't go to grad school.
Where's the PhD from?
I took it from somebody else.
Like who? I don't care. I'm not a credentialist at all. I'm an anti-credentialist. Don't worry. I'm just curious.
No, I don't even remember. Just some loser PhD who's trying to debate me or something. I do it all the time. I have a bunch of them, actually. I have a JD too, so.
They have like,
I expropriated it like Stalin.
They have surplus.
This is why I'm a Stalinist. I expropriated the PhDs myself using my rhetorical force. So I'm going to get yours, I think. Another one for the pile.
Bro, I'm getting this guy's PhD. I'm going to take his PhD. That's how it works, okay? All right, so he's a professor of economics, apparently. What is this? You have a monkey mind.
I tried meditation, but it just didn't work for me. You know, I have too much of a monkey mind. If I had a nickel for every time somebody said that to me, you know, I'd have a whole sack full of nickels. Hi, my name is Dr. Asatar Bear. I'm the founder of Meditation 2.0, where inner peace meets modern life. And I'd like to talk to you today about monkey mind. So the good news is you don't have monkey mind, all right? The bad news, the second thing that people often call monkey mind is it's not really...
Yeah, this is the same guy, by the way.
...about your thoughts per se. It's that when you sit down to meditate, you come up with disturbing stuff, right? You have thoughts which lead you down the feeling that you have, right? So even if it's a very disturbing kind of feeling, you know, you can feel that and let it flow through you. All right, so number 3, when you sit still, you feel anxiety, right? Anxiety is very...
The funniest thing I heard is that he's a Salafist. This dude became Red Pill, Taliban.
beings. And when we tap into that, it changes everything. Then desire becomes not something that binds us, but something that cracks us open and allows that life energy to flow through us. And that's vital. So see if you can tap into that infinite flow. As you exhale, as you inhale, gratitude. I'm so grateful for all that I've received. Now you might come up against things that you don't feel grateful for, that you feel like, what the fuck? I don't want to receive this. I don't want to receive pain and suffering.
That's all the busted ass 4 out of 10s that send me their nudes on Twitter. I don't want that shit.
I don't want to
I don't want none of that.
receive frustration, annoyance, limitation. Well, of course not. No one does. But these are tests. These are obstacles. These are barriers to overcome. And as you exhale, feel that infinite force, that infinite desire moving you forward endlessly, endlessly, endlessly.
Is anyone else not this thirsty? I don't really have this desire in me. I work for what I don't just want things. I really don't just want things. If there's something I want that I cannot get, I stop thinking about it. I only think about things I can work for. No way he co-wrote a book with Wash. No shot. What book was it? Is that real? The fuck? If that's real, I'm gonna really, really question things.
That was
Damn, she's sweating.
fabulous. God.
We've got a good topic this week, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, you.
She's like, damn, like nothing happened. It's like, damn, time passed. It's like, damn, time passed. Literally nothing happened.
You nailed it. That's great. It's so funny to me also, Tara, because not only did we dress the same tonight, but like I feel like there was so much of what you said that was exactly just what I was feeling in my meditation.
She's like, damn, I breathe oxygen. Damn, oxygen. I breathed it. Damn.
As well. Like the same thing with like, I don't know, this feeling of like past and future, you know, having to do with this gratitude and desire.
People from California are so cute. They get to just like talk about nothing. They're like, yeah, and like past and future. And who's gonna build the bridges and the roads, man? Come on. You're sitting in California doing nothing. What do you do? What do people even do here, huh? Nothing.
But you really got in there tonight.
Look, we have a question here.
You know why this is gross? This is just two older adults flirting, and it's public. They're like making it seem like it's for us. This is not, get a room, you know. This is not for us.
Great.
Is this a meditation channel?
Yes.
Yeah. We do this meditation class every week. I also have a bunch of lectures about political economy. So does both.
Every Tuesday, we're live meditating with you.
Live on the internet, people. That's our commitment.
Oh, wow. That was really wonderful, Asatar. Thank you.
I was feeling it too. Yeah, that was a good vibe we had together. Maybe it was just you and me. Maybe it was other people as well. I don't know. Look at this. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Yeah, we love you coming.
Yeah, we love to see you guys. Look at this. I love this so much. Thank you very much.
Oh.
We love to be with you all.
I wonder who this guy is. Who is Johnny just watching this?
This is so great. This is like perfect gratitude night.
I know, right?
It's so sweet.
You guys, sometimes
so
we go,
this is the hero of the left. That this is their champion.
We have no comments, and then sometimes
this is their champion that they're enlisting.
Wonderful comments. It's really nice.
It's really sweet. Yeah. Class yeah. That's, you know, we've had many episodes with that word coming out.
We don't censor ourselves. That's the point here. You know,
we feel very free.
We feel empowered. Yeah, we
feel free and empowered. Okay. Thank you, Johnny.
We appreciate the comments.
All right. Yeah, we love the comments. Okay. Where was I? So those of you that are doing a seated meditation, move around. Move your shoulders and your elbows and your hips, maybe. Do a little movement, and then maybe some cat-cow with the spine. And close your eyes, because then no one can see you.
They can still see us, of course, doing this.
Nope, not when I close my eyes. Anyway, so as you're ready, come into your posture. And so begin to do all the good work that you already began.
All right, he's debated before. Okay, let's just watch his debate. Debate. Who did he debate? Patrick. Who did he debate? Patrick. This guy does debate. No, this one.
Again, you know, and what then I see your tweet come out. I got to read it to everybody, because this kind of lets the audience know, you know, how
this has got 400K views. So this is actually what matters here. You're a communist or whatever. You're going on a platform of a bunch of non-communists. How well did you do converting people? Well, I don't think this guy did that well, because he only has 4K subs, which means I think he did a bad job. But let's check the comments. The ball's on. Okay, the comments seem a little bit positive. This man studies history, will never learn from it. Good talk. I'm glad people received it well then. Okay, apparently people received it well. And that's based. That's super cool. People had a new perspective opened up about Stalin that was positive from a right-wing channel. I think that's good. Great conversation. Okay, this is cool. This man reminds me of one verse from the... Fuck, what is this?
Again, you know.
This man reminds me of a verse from the Bible. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. I don't like this question. Okay, apparently it's mixed. But I mean, I'm glad there's comments that liked it, but I don't think he did a good job persuading anyone. I don't think he persuaded anyone.
Or belief system you and I have, and they're going to be able to enjoy it at the end of the day. Here we go. Your tweet that just came out. Let me see this here. Speaking of debates, I'm being interested.
Babies are dying before age 1, right? How many calories are people taking in, right? How many people can read? These are the basics, right? And especially when you're dealing with a relatively poor, mostly agrarian society, a society where 92% of the people work in agriculture, right? These are monumental achievements. And that is why I celebrate that. I think it's a huge mistake and a huge distortion to allow the anti-communists, most of whom, by the way, are Nazis, to write this history. We can't allow that, right? We have to have the true history.
You said,
I think that's a poor argument. You're like, oh, they're Nazis. So you're taking for granted people's anti-Nazism, which you should never do in a debate. You should never actually make Nazis sound based. Unless you're debating liberals. When you're debating right-wingers, don't just be like, oh, if you disagree with me, you're a Nazi. Because then you're opening the door for people to unironically start embracing Nazism. And they're like, okay, well, what's going to stop me from being a Nazi? Well, that just means you're a horrible person. Like, you have to understand, everything's open. Every door is open as far as what views people could adopt. You have to be open to reason. You can't just like, that's what Voss does too. He always goes to the Nazi argument. It's a stupid thing to do.
You just made a lot of...
It's good to point out when it comes to Ukraine, because exposing that liberal hypocrisy will shatter the liberal ideology, and it'll make the lines very clear. Especially because the liberals are the ones who go around calling everyone Nazis in the first place. But in general, it's not good. No, Muhammad, it's not good. It's not good. You don't loosely throw around the Nazi thing when you're talking to these audiences. It's really bad.
Assumptions right there, some would say. And you said it in a confident way, which is pretty impressive. It's like going up to a girl at a bar and saying, listen.
When you're trying to defend Stalin, don't say you either support Stalin or you're a Nazi to these type of people. Don't say that. Okay? What you should rather say is Stalin has been demonized and unfairly maligned by the... Don't tempt people to be fucking Nazis.
I'm gonna be the...
It's just like it's the same fucking thing when you're like, oh, if you don't support neopronouns, you're a Nazi. It's like, okay, then people will just be Nazis then.
Greatest man you're ever gonna take home. And she doesn't know until she takes you home. And then she says, you know what, you were like a 4. You were okay. Or you were good and you delivered. So we don't know that. But let me go back and measure a few things.
Anti-communism is a Nazi ideology. Okay, even if I granted you that that's correct, you don't know how to deal with audiences. It's a fucking problem. Just because something's correct theoretically doesn't mean it's rhetorically correct. Those are two different things. Rhetorically, you don't just say something that's theoretically true, You have to take into account the meaning of what you're saying to the audience.
Things that you said, One, by the way, I've had Richard Wolff on before, and we had a great time together. I had him on, and Slavoj Žižek's also been on, and a few other socialists have been on. I love talking to socialists. It's a good conversation because I think the audience wins. So, you said, what it did to the economy.
Wealth toward the rich, and then lying to us and telling us that's for the average person. That's not for the average person.
So
not at all.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
So by the way, Dan Price, do you agree with his philosophy or no? What do you think about him?
Well, he's trying to be a good capitalist employer. I think it's better to be a good capitalist employer than to be a bad capitalist employer, if you ask me. I mean, see, this is the disconnect, right? We need a system that truly frees people to uncover themselves and achieve, right? To be who they can be, to develop their potential, right?
Yep.
But think of the millions of people who are systematically denied that opportunity, right? Because of simple stuff, right? hunger, you know?
This is like California lib shit talk.
I didn't come to America because I wanted handouts. I didn't come to America to be a billionaire. We came here because I just wanted to be able to say, hey, Doc, what? I disagree with you. Cool. I disagree with you. Screw you. Screw you. Cool. Can we have dinner? Yeah. Awesome. I can't do that in Iran. I can't do that in the communistic regime.
Iran, he said? He said Iran?
I disagree with you. Screw you. Screw you. Cool. Can we have dinner? Yeah. Awesome. I can't do that in Iran.
Is it Iraq or Iran? He's got an interesting accent. I thought he was like Latin, whether it's like Italian or Spanish or something. Interesting.
I can't do that in the communistic regimes. I can't do that in China. I got a zip line in China.
No, hold on.
I've never ever seen an Iranian accent sound like this. I've never heard this type of Iranian accent in my life.
To just call people Nazis also shows they're not able to defend their position on a substantive level.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
I'm not celebrating Iran here, right? And nor am I saying that you guys left because of money or whatever.
I'm celebrating Iran.
I said Iran. I said that the rich have the option to go wherever in
I'm celebrating Iran. Okay, I am.
the world they'd like to go.
We weren't rich, though. We weren't rich. We were very poor.
Right.
We were very poor.
And no doubt you guys suffered in the way that refugees suffer.
Painfully.
It's not easy to move to another country. I mean, I think anybody knows this, right? Unless you're very rich, in which case it's easy.
We were not rich. No, we were not. I've never lived in a house before. Listen,
As an Iranian, are you white?
Eva the 5. I don't know these days. Everybody says apparently I'm white. I'm Lebanese, 100% Lebanese. But everybody likes to say I'm white anyway. And I don't really care to. I don't. You know what? I don't give a fuck about the minority valor. Oh, I'm a minority. I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't care. I'm a POC. I have rights. Like, I have the right to be discursively fair. You know what? Fine. I'm fucking white. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't hide behind identity. I am what I am. I'm an American. I'm an American. Which means I don't fucking hide behind my identity. And when I say I'm an Afro-Asiatic Mediterranean male, I'm talking about my personality. I'm an Afro-Asiatic Mediterranean male. That's not the same as saying I'm POC, because POC is a victim. I'm not a fucking victim. I'm a lion. I'm a tiger. I'm an Afro-Asiatic Mediterranean male. I'm a fucking tiger. I'm a lion. You understand? So you can call me white. You can call me whatever the fuck you want, bitch. I don't give a fuck. But I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat.
I never lived in a house. I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment complex with my mom and dad.
As a POC man, I feel really victimized. I'm not victimized. You're my victim, bitch. I'm not victimized by anybody. I keep it real. I keep it real. I keep it real. I'm a victim? Who's victimizing me, bitch? I walk with my nuts hanging. I grew up in the 9/11 generation. I got thick skin, bitch. I don't give a fuck. Call me whatever. I'm a victim. I'm not a fucking victim. I'm a lion, bitch. I'm not any victim. Afro-Asiatic Mediterranean male. I am not a victim. I am not a victim. I am not oppressed. I am not oppressed. I am the oppressor. I oppress cucks and soy boys. I am not oppressed. I'm the oppressor. I'm the oppressor. I oppress cucks and soy boys. Walk with my nuts hanging out. Try and come and oppress me, bitch.
My dad left at 5 a.m., came at 9 p.m. We had a very rough life. I don't like sympathy. I don't like that kind of stuff because I don't want you to feel bad for me. I'm a very happy man, lucky man. All I'm saying to you is none of your values and principles that you admire are any of those that America stands for? How could you live in a country that doesn't match any of your values and principles?
I think those are American values. And here's why, okay? If I go, I could...
Pat Sock confirmed. Somebody clip this shit and expose him as a Pat Sock on Twitter. Someone clip that part. This dude's a fucking Pat Sock. What the fuck? This dude's literally a Pat Sock. This dude's literally a Pat Sock.
I could talk in front of a
How
giant...
come you're not going to tell him that you believe America's the worst country ever?
Stadium full of Republicans. And you know what I'd say to them?
What's that?
I'd say, how many...
You're all canceled! Reactionary settlers, land back!
How many of you guys have jobs? Yes, we have jobs, right? I say, how many of you are proud of the work that you do, right? Yes, right? How many of you do you think everybody should have a job? Everybody who wants to work should have a job. Is there anything more American than working hard and being proud of what you do, right?
Sure.
Dude, this guy should get canceled. You know what? He tagged Luna Oi. Luna Oi gave me shit for saying less than this. But he's allowed to say this and I get canceled? Dude, you need to get canceled. I'm sorry.
I think we'd all be on the same page. Well, those are the values in the United States. Those are the values of Marxism, right?
Yeah, but
I mean,
this guy's a Browderist. He's a Browderist. You know, I don't go this far. I don't actually say that American values are Marxist. I just say that Marxism is applicable to America. I'm not an American exceptionalist. I think America is just a country. Just like China's a country and Russia's a country and Germany's a country and France is a country. And I'm just saying you can have socialism with American characteristics. I'm not out here saying, oh, Marxism and American values are the same. They're not the fucking same. They're not. They're completely different. It's like different categories of, I'm against Americanism. I am a communist. I'm an American communist. I am not an Americanist. I'm a Marxist communist. I am not an Americanist. This guy's an Americanist.
And yet we have this dream in the United States that if we get rich enough and if we succeed, then we can do what? Stop working, right? I mean, when you win the lottery, oh, look, and now I'm going to kick back and go in a hammock and do nothing, right? That's kind of our fantasy.
Let me ask you a question. Right? How hard was it to get a PhD? How hard was it to get a PhD?
I'm getting one this Saturday.
It was hard. It was perhaps the most difficult thing that I did in my young life.
You know what happens when I see a guy that got a PhD? Let me tell you how I view a PhD person. I see somebody with a PhD, I admire them. I see somebody with a PhD and I say, this guy must have freaking put shitload of hours into reading and studying. And
this guy has such a good setup and audio. And he has such a nice house too. This is a guy, if he invited you over to his house, you would have a great time. It'd be super clean. It would be super cozy, nice house, good experience, good family.
And improving, probably had to say no to a lot of parties. He probably partied a little bit, but I think he had to say no to a lot of them. He probably had to say no to a lot.
Yeah, are you sure he's Iranian? Because that accent does not sound Iranian. I've heard Arabs have this accent before.
A lot of events. He probably had a lot of Friday nights and Saturdays and Sundays while everybody else was going kicking back. He probably stayed and studied.
I like this guy's like aesthetics. He's got the lion and shit. I like this guy's style. I like his I disagree with him, but like I like his thing.
It ain't easy to get a PhD. So here's a question. Now you and I go to school together.
Impeccable hairline and shit. This is a cool dude. Not gonna lie. Thank you so much, Unicorn. By earning a trade qualification without a supportive family and home environment.
I go to college with you. Let's just say we're roommates. And I say, hey, bro, what's that? Let's go get hammered tonight. No, dude, I'm going to study for this test that's coming up. Screw it. Caroline's coming. Mary's coming. Let's go. You get together with Caroline. I'm going to get together with Mary.
I mean, Caroline. I mean, Mary. I mean, Come on, bro.
You know, Caroline likes you. Dude, I'd love to.
Caroline.
But I got a freaking.
Who's the wingman here? Am I the wingman?
I think you would. I think
Caroline sounds like not my type.
I'm a historically good wingman, but I think you would also be a good wingman. But
all right.
The point I'm trying to make to you is you busted your ass to get your PhD. How about the guy that partied instead of wanting to bust his ass? We need to take care of him. He could have had the same hours to put into it. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, I can give a very clear answer to this. Yes, everyone should have a decent life, just by virtue of being alive and being human, right? That means everyone should have food, clothing, shelter. They should have a job.
What if I'm an F-up? What if I?
Some people are, unfortunately, right? Some people are.
Do drugs all day. What if I?
Everyone should have a decent life. That should be our minimal understanding, right? Just like we have a very broadly shared understanding right now, right? Which is that no one should be enslaved. You know, I mean, ask 1,000 people. You get 1,000 people who will agree.
You know, this is like, I don't know, like, you can't guarantee everyone a decent life. If you make a shit show of your own life, you can't just blame others.
With that,
you should have the opportunity.
Should people
definitely
be enslaved? No, they should not. Right? Why not? Is it because slavery is not profitable? No, slavery is incredibly profitable, right, for the slave master.
Of course, right? Communists know that. Communism is pure slavery. I mean, that's the system is.
Well, no, now we're just mixing up terms, right?
Communism is purely slavery.
If you ask 1,000 workers under capitalism, right, even in the United States, just ask everyone. Do you think everybody should have a job?
Do you realize right now?
I think you're going to get pretty strong agreement on that.
David is sitting right here. He's a camera guy, okay?
Yeah.
And he runs production. If David right now comes and tells me, screw you, Patrick, you're the worst boss ever, and he leaves me, what can I do to him?
David, I don't want you to get fired here.
What I'm trying to tell you is, what can I honestly do to David? What can I do to you? Nothing. He gets up and walks out. If in a communistic...
Yeah, you guys are right. He looks super Iranian. You're right about that. He does have that Iranian look.
Regime, he comes and puts his finger at the boss and says, screw you. Where the hell are you going? What's going to happen to this guy? Poor guy may go missing. We may not find him. By the way, let's just say David works for me. And he goes on.
Well, we don't find that historically, though. We don't find that. That's not.
I mean, just 40 million people got killed. That's not that many people. Let's just not, you know, it's just.
Yeah, but that's not a true number, though.
It's probably 60 million. You're right. It's more like 60 million. It's a bigger number.
No, neither of those numbers are accurate.
You know what I appreciate about you is the following. Here's what I appreciate about you is you have your own thoughts on believing the data that a Stalin's regime would give you to say that's the data on how things got better. For somebody that is an intellect like you, who's read way more books than I have and knows history probably a lot more than I do, that's the world you're in. That's the sport you're playing, right? That's why I'm interviewing you and I have you on.
Damn, he did horrible. Asatar did horrible, dude. He fucking dropped the ball so bad. This is fucking terrible.
To get your perspective on it.
Sure. But let me ask you this. Yeah. Does not every government have similar motivations to lie about the numbers? I mean, doesn't the United States have similar motivations to make itself look good by lying about the numbers?
But the only difference we have here's the only difference.
Remember who charged this? Trump did. When Trump was running and he made a lot of hay out of this, he said, the official unemployment rate is nonsense. The unemployment rate is actually way higher.
I remember that. But guess what? Yeah. You know what we have? Here's what we have. You just validated my point.
I think I wouldn't approach it this way. I would more talk about how Russians remember Stalin. I would say the people who lived under Stalin are fond of him. The older generations are the most fanatically Stalinist in Russia today. And regardless of the data, okay, fine, we can't trust the data. This is how people remember it and how they've experienced it. Are all of them brainwashed? Are all of them wrong and we're right? Well, they lived under it, and most of them have a favorable view of Stalin. I think that would be a way smarter view of approaching this, you know? But this guy just keeps talking about capitalism instead.
What I was about to make to you. Here's the point I want to make to you. Is, okay, China, Xi Jinping, right? They say,
You got to really rein things back to the meat and potatoes. Okay, why are we talking about Stalin? Who was Stalin? Stalin was a hero for his people. It's about the Russian people. It's not about an ideology. It's about the Russian people. That's his legacy. You know?
COVID came.
And regardless of what you think about the data they provided, Churchill's not a communist. He said Stalin came to Russia with wooden plowshares and he left it with nuclear weapons. So clearly Stalin corresponded to an immense industrialization. No one denies that. You can't really deny that. You know? Doesn't matter what you think about it.
And it left, and we're freaking partying our asses up. Well, it's no big deal. We're good. The economy is growing. We're blowing up. People are so happy to be in China. They just love it here. It's a fantastic world. But I tell you, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you're not welcome in China. And if somebody posts a video on any of those platforms, let me tell you, we're coming after you. Why? Jack Ma gets up there and gives a speech, an anti-government speech by this much.
Bro, how can you defend Jack Ma?
He goes missing for 90 days. How the hell does a guy worth $60 billion that created a bunch of jobs disappear? They're Elon.
Because nobody's above the government. Just because you make money don't mean you're above the government. That's why they're not as corrupt as us.
Elon Musk disappeared. Their Bezos disappeared just because they made a comment against the government. Moral of the story is the following. You can get up today and talk shit about Biden. You got a job at Fox News and CNN. You can get up there and talk shit about Trump. You definitely have a job at MSNBC. Try getting up there and talk shit about Xi Jinping in China. You have a
Did he say CNN?
job at the cemetery and it's 6 feet under. You cannot talk shit over there or in Russia. You don't have that.
That's not true at all, though. That's not true.
Fantastic. So why don't they believe in freedom of speech? Why don't we have Facebook, YouTube, Twitter over there? Why can't we see what's going on? Why don't they go Facebook Live so we can see what's going on in China?
Well, you have to understand the history of China, right?
What a shitty answer. What a stupid fucking answer, dude. This guy misrepresented us so much. It's so easy to answer this question. All you have to do is say, those are American companies. China puts China first, and it has its own companies. Why should China give its market to American companies if China wants what's best for China and the Chinese people? Why should they give all of these American companies access to the Chinese market and Chinese data and all that stuff? We don't play like that. It's not like we would allow Chinese companies to come in our country. We wouldn't allow Russian companies to come into our country. This was the easiest thing. This is the easiest thing to answer. This is the easiest fucking thing to answer. And this fucking dumbass goes and he says, well, you gotta understand the history. What a stupid, stupid response. What a stupid fucking response to that.
Is a long established
all this shit you could respond with common sense.
Civilization that was very severely humiliated and basically colonized, right? Not exactly.
Conservatives don't want to hear this fucking stupid fucking War bullshit. Oh, I'm a victim, that's why. Bro, fuck. Geoff, what the fuck?
Infrared Army puts us first, _tanky.
Geoff, thank you, man. Jesus. Thank you, Geoff. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you, man.
But basically, right? The Britain had its way with China. It did not deign to conquer the entire territory, but it shaved off the part that it wanted, right? Hong Kong, you know, the port part, right? And it got the policies that it wanted that came out of the Opium Wars. It subjugated China, right? So, and, you know, this caused, I mean, you know, this is part of a whole string of different defeats and humiliations.
That's fucking stupid. This is the dumbest response. This guy fucking got rocked in the debate. Oh my God, what an embarrassment.
Now, what a surprise it was to find that wasn't true, right? They occurred in the least developed, like the least, I mean, Russia's the least developed, used this very old kind of mythological idea that said that the Slavs had black bones. And I mean, it was this just utter bullshit, right? So what you have here is you have fascist nationalism, which seeks to conquer territory based on racist ideology, right? But, you know, leftists look at her and be like, what has she actually done? You know, what policies has she done that actually improve people's lives? And the record there is non-existent. So, you know, I like AOC, you know, she seems like a good person, whatever, but, you know, it's like you throw a handful of sand at an oncoming tidal wave. You're not really going to change the result there, you know.
Elizabeth Warren.
Well, Elizabeth Warren, I put in a very different position.
I like this guy. I can tell I like this guy.
Elizabeth Warren
do you agree with everything? No, but like, I like his style. I like how he talks and conducts himself. I feel like South Lebanese Shia, I feel like we're like Iranian or something. Because we vibe with Iranians so well for some reason, you know? So weird how that works. We're both so sneaky. Why are we sneaky? Is it all Shias are sneaky, or just because we just have this like sneaky thing about us where we just like, we keep it low key and you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about? We've got that thing. We've got that style about us. Like, dude, this dude reminds me of relatives, you know?
Very opportunistic politician, in my view. Somebody who, you know, Bernie's out there campaigning in 2016, talking about Medicare for all, talking about the $15 minimum wage, talking about everyone should have a job. What's Elizabeth Warren doing? Deafening silence, right? Then endorses Clinton.
Someone told me once, I heard this story, that the Shias in Lebanon are actually Persian. They actually were Persian migrants who were repressed, and they went to Lebanon because of the mountains offered protection, and that they're actually Persians, or they're descended from Persians. I don't know if that's true, though, but that's some shit I heard.
Then comes and adopts that program without a word. Like, what the hell's that into 2020 campaign? I mean, and the entire Democratic field adopts all of Bernie's proposals. Why don't, if you guys support the proposals, then you should be supporting Bernie, right? But none of these people did that. I just think it's opportunistic, and you know, it's a lot of my colleagues in academia, you know, love Elizabeth Warren, and so maybe I will end some friendships by speaking ill of her. But at this point, I think probably nobody cares. You know, I just think it tells you whether you really support a program, though. You know, like, do you support it rain or shine, you know, or just shine? You know,
I don't think she's a true believer. I think, like you said, she's an opportunistic. That makes sense. How about Fidel Castro?
Well, Fidel Castro's an interesting one because Fidel Castro started off as a revolution.
I could do business with this guy. I could really do business with this guy. I could do El Chapo type of business with this dude. I'm just kidding, but I could do business with this dude. You know, this dude seems like he's about making money. I could really do business. You know, we can make money. We can move packages and move shipments. You know what I mean?
Revolutionary as a nationalist revolutionary, not as a socialist, interestingly enough, right? So Fidel embraces socialism later, right? He's just sort of, it's on the fence for a little while, right? It's kind of the US's response that pushes Fidel to socialism. But once he does that, he very much embraces it, right? So, you know, one of the first things that I just wrote about.
This dude's so patient. Because if I had this guy on my show, I would end it after 20 minutes. I'd be like, bro, you ramble and you're boring as fuck. You're saying
this for a new publication called The International. If people are interested, you can Google that. I wrote about the economic achievements of Cuba. One of the first things that they do, they expropriate the land, right? So like I mentioned, in Cuba, similar to lots of places in Africa.
All he did was ask you about Fidel Castro. You know what a proper response to this would be? It would be something like, I think Fidel is a good man. I think Fidel did his best fighting for his people, did his best defending his country. He was a real patriot. And I think he's beloved by the Cuban people. You don't have to get into all of the history of Cuba and all their fucking policies. Nobody fucking wants to hear that.
So forth. You had most of the land being owned by a very small.
Bro, this is such a stupid answer. This is a stupid non-response. No, he wasn't asking you for a history lesson on Cuba.
I don't in class. And you know, the Castro and the revolution, they said, look, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to turn the land over to the peasants. It then became state property. The state section.
Yikes! This is such a bad way of telling. Yeah, tell conservatives it became state property. Tell the conservatives that it became state property, and just see how that's gonna go with them. Oh, so that's like the government taking everything over. I really trust the American government. Like, you have to understand who you're talking to. You sound fucking stupid. Propagated by anti-Shia types in Lebanon, the same Israeli collaborationists who used to claim they are Phoenicians, worked in Lebanon for 10 years. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Who cares either way? My descendants are. I'm Afro-Asiatic, okay? I'm Afro-Asiatic. I was descended from pharaohs. I was descended from the pharaohs. Egypt. Afro-Asiatic.
Went to about 80% of the land.
Pharaohs and shit. Pyramids. Sphinx.
And they also had individual peasants also owning their land individually. So they had a kind of mixed system. But in general, I think I'm very favorably inclined towards Castro, and the revolution there also generated very good results.
He claims Phoenician. Bruh. I'm going to tell you, I never took a DNA test. I'm going to tell you my exact ancestry just based on vibes, okay? Just based on vibes. 5%, okay, hold on. 10% Ethiopian. 10% the Horn of Africa. 20% Egypt. 15% Phoenician. 10% Bedouin. 20% Persian. 3% Turk. 5% African. 10% Central Asian. 5% Balkans/Slavic. 3% Albanian. I'm thinking. 2% Maltese. 2% Maltese. 2% Maltese. 2% Maltese. 10% from the Caucasus. Armenia, Georgia, Chechens, Dagestan, that type of shit, right? That area. Trying to think, man. I'm trying to think. 5% Mongol. 0% European. 0% French. 0% German. 0% Anglo. 0% any of that. 0% from the Netherlands. 0% Nordic. 0% Italian. 0% Spanish. 0% anything from Europe. 5%. 7% from Yemen. 7% from Yemen. 7% from Yemen. 6% Nigerian. 6% West African. I'm on that West African vibe. I'm slithering like a snake in the West African desert. West African type of nomadic vibe. That's the type of shit I'm on. 8% West African. Timbuktu. 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 Sahara Desert. Sahara Desert type vibe. 3% Berber. And I'm not related to her, actually. Fuck. I'm attracted to Pokimane. Whatever is attracted to Pokimane, whatever is a magnetic force with Pokimane, I'm part of 12% of that. 12% Morocco. Whatever the hell that Berber, whatever that is. 12%. 12%. You know what I mean? Talking about 0% Polish. 0% Polish. Talking about 2% Chinese. 2% Chinese. 10% Russian. 10% Russian. 0% Australian. 0% Australian. 5% Indonesian. 5% Indonesian. 5% Indonesian hopping on the islands of Indonesia like an anaconda, like a Komodo dragon type energy from Indonesia, hopping island to island with a knife. Got a bandana, Komodo dragon type shit. And then 8% Latino. 8% Latino. 8% Incan warrior Latino type of shit. I'm a goddamn Reconquista type of vibe. You know what I mean? %12 North Korean, 12% Korean, 12% Korean, mountainous people type of vibe, Korean type of vibe. You know what I mean? North. I'm not talking about south. I'm talking about north. Up there in the north, where there's mountains and rugged terrain. That's my ethnicity. That's it. I got nothing else to say.
I got two other names for you. Noam Chomsky.
Noam Chomsky, yeah, big figure on the left. Not someone I've ever really been a
Why does leftism teach you to be a fucking pussy? I don't know.
fan of. Just
I don't know, man.
because I don't see him as having a very good answer to like the
Yeah, this guy's like, I can't wait for this guy to be done.
question of what should be done. You know, Noam Chomsky is someone who has good critiques. You know, like he critiques his critiques of the media are very solid, right? Critiques of imperialism, good, right? He knows a lot about the history of U.S. imperialism, and that's very good. But does he have a very good vision of what should be done?
You know, beard fishing, does it apply to you?
What is beard fishing? The fuck? Is that? Smells fishy. What is that? It's when you eat pussy and it smells on your beard. What is that? What is that? Beard fishing. Beard. Loosely defined as men using beards to make themselves more attractive. Motherfucker, who the fuck said that shit? Who the fuck said that shit, bitch? I'm gonna show you you know what? I'm gonna show you. In case y'all need to see what I look like without a beard, I'm gonna show you. Check this out. Show you this. Upload file. I'm gonna show you what I look like without a beard, bitch. Talking all that shit. Beard fishing this, beard fishing that. Here it is. Here it is. All right. Look at that. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? No questions. There we go. Hold on, give me a sec. I am back. All right. There's one more thing I want to show you guys, and it's the CPUSA talking about land back, settler colonial debate. Had done its dirty work in the US by wiping out the indigenous population. This is the land back map. In his imperialism, Lenin posited the era of most developed imperialism began in the 20th century. J. Sakai states the white proletariat cannot be revolutionary because they are settlers. This statement reveals the author's bias against working class unity, plays into the hands of the ruling class. Okay, CPUSA is denouncing Sakai. You know, sometimes I feel like the CPUSA leadership denounces Sakai just to uplift the white, middle class professional managerials. What do you guys think about that? Urban. Not the working class whites, but the urban managerial class. See, their government should be celebrated because the more progressive indigenous voices, the better. But working for the government can result in awkward positions, supporting Biden's decision to sell new oil and gas leases. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. As for decolonization, as advocated by indigenous activists, this concept is a legitimate expression of struggle. Decolonization is represented by the land back movement of Native American people. Okay, what does this mean? Oh, this was old. Okay, they don't actually talk about what they want to decolonize. Okay, the Eastern Oklahoma case is bullshit because they only have jurisdiction over tribal members, not everyone in Eastern Oklahoma.
Based.
They denounce Sakai but uphold Patrick Wolf. At least Sakai was kind of funny.
Yeah, Patrick Wolf, who is a fucking... Sakai's better than Patrick Wolf. Who are we kidding, right? Massive pressure on Biden. Yikes. Alright, I wanted to talk more about the CPUSA. We didn't have time. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And I may warn you, y'all are in for a surprise tomorrow. Tomorrow there's going to be a surprise. There's going to be a surprise tomorrow. Yeah, the Discord's made. Go in the Discord. But there's going to be a surprise tomorrow. For y'all. The Discord link is on my channel, the YouTube channel.
Hey, I just want to say goodbye. Goodbye to the people who hated on me. Goodbye to the people who loved me. Goodbye to the people who trusted me. Goodbye, goodbye to everybody. Goodbye to the people who hated on me. Goodbye to the people who loved me. Goodbye to the people who trusted me. Goodbye, goodbye to everybody. Now I need some changes in my life. Now I need to move on in life. Now it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye to everybody. Goodbye to the people who hated on me. Goodbye to the people who loved me. Goodbye to the people who trusted me. Goodbye, goodbye to everybody. Goodbye to the people who hated on me. Goodbye to the people who loved me. Goodbye to the people who trusted me. Goodbye, goodbye to everybody. I'm thinking deeply right now. My life with you is like ow, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know why it's happening to me, but I just realize I'm not the person I used to be. Now I just wanna leave this city. This bullshit is not gonna happen again. Goodbye to the people who hated on me. Goodbye to the people who loved